So this thing's been sitting off for a while. Let's turn it on. See, there's some issues with the screen. You can see there's no screen output right now. Let's turn it off. Well, I've taken the cover off in the back, and to make it faster, to test the screen separate from the main board output, I'm going to separate the VGA connector. First I have to take off the serial port that's in the way. Power supply. So instead of disconnecting it and testing both of these separately, I'm just going to test them both at the same time and see if that distorted line screen appears on either the monitor here or the VGA port out to a different monitor. So let's get that set up. All right, so I've connected and powered on already an Apple TV through an HDMI converter to the VGA connector to this monitor. And I've connected the output of the game's main board to a separate VGA monitor. Let's take a look. All right, so we see that the game's main board, the JVL boot up, is actually working fine. And this screen is not on. Now, I've had an issue with this screen where it would take a while to warm up and then it would turn on. So let's actually test that theory. Okay, you can see that the screen is on, but it's kind of flickering. And you can actually reset or power off and on the internal monitor with this little board right here. I push the power button, turns off, and if I let go, the monitor turns on again. So there's probably something wrong, probably with the board, because we saw that little box in the middle turn on. The screen's probably fine. I think it's the board. So there's a fix that I've tried. You know, actually, in the meantime, let's try one thing. Let's see if the digitizer board's working. Yep. Because the digitizer or touchscreen is still here, though the monitor's output is there, you can actually touch the screen here. So at least we know the digitizer is working. All right, let's get to the other fix. All right, I've already taken out 4 nuts. So the screen should pop out, but you need to make sure that these cables don't get stuck. Okay, let's set this up. Carefully. And make sure no cables get snagged. You can actually reach in and unplug a couple of the cables. There's one cable here. There you go. So now the screen is removed. Make sure that these cables didn't get pulled. Now the teardown of the monitor might be a little different depending on if this has been taken apart before. I've seen 2 different monitors with different screws. But the main thing is there's the digitizer circuit here, which you may or may not need to remove depending if it's taped. Looks like there's just insulation tape here, so this looks good. I'm gonna remove, oh, I just noticed that this connector is loose. I wonder if that's what the problem was. See that? It's possible that's the problem. If that's the problem, I'm not going to do anything else. I think we need to test this again. I'll test it off screen, and then if it's not the problem, I'll continue. All right, I've temporarily reconnected the main board because the power supply gets turned on by the main board. And then I've connected the Apple TV back to the VGA connector to the built-in screen. Oh, there's somebody screaming outside. What's happening? Whatever. So I'm going to turn this on. Still have a problem. So it's not that connector, so we're good to continue. Always check your connectors. All right, so we're going to continue now, removing the screws. Now, this big metal plate is first. We verify that the digitizer touchscreen is not taped to anything, so we're just going to remove these. Be careful right here. There is a ribbon cable. That's for the digitizer. It's very delicate. This metal plate has boards mounted to the back. Now, this is not the stock lighting circuit. This was replaced, but we're going to focus on this because this is the board that digitizes the signals for the LCD. This one and under here. So, being careful not to damage that cable. So we're going to try something. We're going to put this in the oven for 375 degrees for 20 minutes. Something I've used to fix dozens of other TVs. This is almost like a TV. There's no heavy components on this side, so laying it this way in the oven is not going to cause anything underneath to fall off. But it's going to resolder all the connectors. So let's give it a try. All right, we've preheated the oven to 375 degrees. We're putting this face up on a pizza pan, and in it goes for 20 minutes. All right, it's been 20 minutes. We're gonna turn it off, and it's hot. Don't want to jar it if it's still liquid, but let's take a quick look. Okay, all the solder is very shiny, so hopefully it did its job. Let's leave it to cool down. Okay, we've put the board back into the monitor, connected the monitor to the Apple TV, turned the Apple TV on, connected the main board so that the screen will get power. Let's turn it on, see what happens. Let's see if it's on. Oh, the screen's off. Let's turn the power on. That might be the first thing we need to do. Off, on. It's hard to say. It's better than it was. It's actually kind of stable now. So there might be, maybe possibly bad capacitor on the main board. Oh, That's not a good thing. Yeah, so there's definitely something wrong with the main board. The screen's more stable, but it's going in and out. My bet is there's old capacitors. When the picture is there, it's stable, but it's going in and out. So I've decided to take the board from another monitor that I know is working. It's a different model board, but I realize I don't have the capacitors to replace yet, so I ordered them, and until they come in, I'm just gonna use this working board to see if it's the board or the LCD, because that's one thing I don't know. I don't know if that issue was the LCD or not. So let's use this board, this working board, put that in the monitor and test it out again. All right, we're trying it one more time with the board we know works. So this is just to see if it's the LCD or not. I'm gonna turn this on. All right, so that's actually good. So at least we know the LCD screen itself is working. And the problem on the other board might be hopefully just a capacitor connection, but we'll find that out when the capacitors come in. But as far as this screen goes, this one's good, so I'm gonna put everything back together and we should have a working machine. And the machine is back together. I'm gonna turn it on with the new used board. That initial odd color scheme doesn't bother me because there's multiple inputs and it might have just been looking at the wrong input. Because once it's on, it seems to be working. Okay, everything seems to be working. So we're gonna call this one good, and then hopefully get to the next video soon.